What up, man? This is Sir John Legion, the Lord with the Sword. I just wanted to drop a quick video and give my thoughts and opinions on the verdict of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation suit. As you all know by now, the six-week trial concluded this past Wednesday on June 1st. Congratulations to Mr. Johnny Depp and his top-notch legal team for winning his defamation suit, receiving a unanimous verdict from the 7-person civil jury, the jury consisting of 5 men and 2 women. They found that Depp was in the right on all 3 counts based on the evidence provided by the legal team, and I believe he was awarded $15 million in compensation. Although Heard's countersuit was successful on 1 count and she was awarded $2 million, but let's be honest, that $15 million that Depp is going to receive as a result of this trial in no way makes up for the $50 million that was dealt to Amber Heard from the UK trial, and let's not forget, the hundreds of thousands of dollars of Depp's money that she burned through when they were engaged. I'm sure Johnny Depp is still recovering from that in some way. I followed the first 3-4 weeks of this trial pretty closely on YouTube. I watched a pretty substantial amount of Johnny Depp when he was on the witness stand. I saw all of his opening testimony, I believe it's called, and I saw many of the cross-examinations. I ended up being preoccupied with other things during the final 2 weeks of the trial. When Amber Heard finally took the stand, I wasn't able to catch a lot of that live, but I was consistently checking my video recommendations on YouTube, throughout the days of the trial and saving videos here and there to watch later. And I ultimately saw this as a 2-frontier battle, essentially. One of the battles was the one of the actual evidence that was going to be presented, which of course would be fought by the legal teams. And the second battle was going to be the battle of public opinion, or public sympathy, as it were. That, of course, would hinge on the 2 actors, and Depp won that battle by a landslide. He was charming when he needed to be. He was sincere when he needed to be, and when the time came for him to do some acting, he was Johnny on the spot with it. No pun intended. Now, having said that, before any of you possibly accuse me of being too cynical in my analysis of Johnny Depp, before any of you say, hey, John, how can you say that Johnny Depp wasn't being genuine and forthcoming? The man's fighting for his livelihood. He's trying to prove his innocence and retrieve his good name, his reputation. He's having to deal with details of his personal life being revealed to the entire world and this, that, and the other. You don't think that process would be emotionally taxing? Actually, I do. I'm simply pointing out that Johnny Depp is, and Amber Heard, but to a lesser degree, are actors. I believe that Depp understood when to be vulnerable and when to be charming, especially when he was on the stand being cross-examined by Heard's lawyers, and as well when he was being questioned by his own lawyer, Camille Vasquez. It was very apparent that the Depp legal team wanted to set a particular tone for the overall trial, and they wanted to set it early. You can see it in the footage. There are multiple clips and sound bites and videos of Johnny Depp when he's being cross-examined. Every now and then he's cracking jokes and in between questions and, making the jurors and people sitting in the audience laugh. Every now and then he would bring a sense of levity to a certain topic that he was being questioned on. Because at the end of the day, yes, a courtroom is meant to be a sole representation or bastion of truth and justice, but at the end of the day, it is also a stage. Both Depp and Heard understood that. Both parties understood that. Make no mistake about it. However, in terms of presenting an aura of likability and relatability, and despite Amber Heard being a narcissist, a habitual liar, and clearly dealing with some psychological issues. It was very apparent that she did not possess that trait, that charismatic gene like Johnny Depp. I mean, this guy we're talking about is a master thespian, one of the greatest actors of this generation, and it was very clear that he has that trait in spades, and he proved that he has the capability to turn it on whenever need be. So, in my opinion, that second battle that I was alluding to was really no contest. Now, as far as the evidence goes and all the evidence that was brought to the court, and it really got to a point where the evidence of Heard clearly being the abusive one in the relationship, the evidence became so damning after about the first 4 weeks that once the case entered the 5th week, it was pretty much a wrap for this case. I mean, her lawyers, Rottenborn and Elaine Reedcroft, I think that's how you pronounce her name, they were essentially having to pull rabbits out of their ass because there just wasn't much left for them to work with after those first 4 weeks. I mean, goodness gracious. And for me, the cross-examination that Camille Vasquez did on Amber Heard, I mean, in my opinion, that was the defining moment of the entire trial. I saw that live. That was an absolute shakedown. No doubt about it. Specifically, that moment when Vasquez sped up the pace with which she was asking Amber certain questions, and the moment when Amber slipped up and reneged on her motive for why she wrote the op-ed, because that answer that she gave did not match the answer that she wrote in the op-ed. If you watch that footage, and I'll drop a link to that video about what I'm talking about, but when Amber said what she said, and Camille didn't immediately follow that answer up with another question, she just momentarily paused, and Camille didn't immediately follow Amber's rebuttal up with another question, and she let that answer sit in the air and resonate over the whole courtroom. She had Amber Heard, and she knew she did. That was the final nail in the coffin. And it really didn't shock me that Johnny Depp was not present in court the day of the verdict. I believe he knew he had won at some point, whether it was a few days or maybe a week before the actual verdict. I believe he knew, or he was at least supremely confident that he was going to get the verdict that he wanted. And I also think strategically, whether it was predetermined by his legal team or not, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but the fact that Depp was not there meant that the cameras would be solely focused on Amber Heard and her reaction or non-reaction to the verdict. I mean, depending on how well you're able to read and analyze facial expressions. In my opinion, his choice not to show up in court on that day was a very tactical move. Assuming that Depp's party was that confident in the verdict, and that they did indeed plan ahead. But if not, then hey, perhaps I'm just reading too much into it. But either way, congratulations to Johnny Depp, his legal team, the jurors, and the judge. But first and foremost, Johnny Depp and his legal team for successfully proving his innocence and simultaneously exposing the world to who Amber Heard truly is. And I want to say one more thing before I end this video. It would be foolish for men, or it'd be foolish for people in general, but specifically you men, those of you who took a vested interest in following this trial, to fall prey to being prisoners of the moment. And here's what I mean by that. I see it being very easy to get caught up in all the hoopla on the internet and social media, people posting their reactions to the verdict of the trial and giving their thoughts and opinions, however rational or irrational they may be. Some of you might actually be Johnny Depp fans, or maybe you may be a fan of Johnny Depp's work as an actor, and that's fine, whatever, it is what it is. But if I may, the results of this trial is not cause for you to take to social media, raid Twitter and Instagram, trolling feminists all goddamn day. I mean, there's really no need to partake in that. And here's why. Whatever your reactions or your feelings or emotions to to the results of this trial. And I understand that there are a lot of men out there, I mean, men and women, but specifically I understand and I recognize that there are a lot of men here who are very happy for Johnny, that he managed to successfully prove his innocence. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube of people reacting. Like, I understand the sentiment and what this means for a lot of you who are following this trial. But if I may, the world is not going to change on a dime, neither will the mainstream liberal media, simply due to the result of a single defamation trial between a man and a woman, between one actor and one actress. Despite it being high profile and an internationally broadcasted trial, what I plan to do is post a video sometime this weekend, specifically addressing men, about things that need to be taken away from this particular moment in time, because best believe there was a lesson. In fact, there were multiple lessons to be learned. I don't believe this trial will go down as the biggest story of the year, but it'll definitely be one of the biggest stories of 2022, considering the timeline of this particular event and the fact that it did span over 6 years, really. I saw many different elements at play during this trial and in that courtroom in terms of the people involved. Some things were relatively easy to spot, and other things that are a bit more difficult to see and might go unnoticed by the average Joe. And I just want to highlight a few of those things, and in doing that, I also want to tie that to how all this turmoil began for Johnny Depp in terms of his relationship with Amber Heard, how he got here in the first place. And from what I could gather, the things that he ultimately did and didn't do, the things that he saw and didn't see, things that are very common mistakes, very common for men across all social classes and all races and all backgrounds in terms of dealing with the woman. And these are all things that set him up on this 6-year journey. Believe me, for those of you watching this video, if you're a teenager or a young adult, maybe you're in your early 30s or you're just now entering your prime or whatever stage in life you may be at. And if you are a male and you're still trying to figure this life out, the society out, still trying to figure the woman out, there are things that we need to understand. And I would just like to provide some analysis on this particular event and on the two main people that this whole event surrounded, that being one Johnny Depp and one Amber Heard. And I want to make this extremely clear so that there is no confusion going forward. I am in no way labeling myself some sort of red pill guru. That is not my intention, and that is not my goal for this channel. I have no plans on making this a red pill channel. I am not a Casanova or anything like that. I'm just a man that has lived through some things, and I have acquired a certain amount of knowledge that I would just like to share with other men. Some of it can be brought from a 2-dimensional perspective, and then there are some things that I would like to share that will be coming from a 3-dimensional perspective. So be on the lookout for that video. I'm working on it as we speak. And once again, more movie news, more DCEU, MCU, TV, comics, anything that I want to post or discuss within the realms of arts and entertainment, culture, it will be on the way. For those of you who clicked on the video, thank you for watching. Be sure to like the video and also leave your thoughts in the comment section. Feel free to explain how you feel about the verdict, and if you had any changes in your perspective on people or life or anything of that nature. Feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear back from you guys. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell. This is Sir John Legion signing off. Y'all have a good one.